Good morning. My name is Mr. Leach and I'm the Director of Sixth Form, and obviously I'm just going to run through the Year 12 information presentation with you. Obviously we'd love to have got you into the building to actually have the presentation done in person, but obviously with the current situation that's just not been possible. So hopefully this presentation will provide you with lots of information about your son and daughter's experience at the Sixth Form. So first thing I'd just like to say is how impressed I've been with the start that students have made. Obviously coming back into a very unusual situation with everything that's happened, they really have embraced everything in an incredibly positive way. The work ethic, the way they've behaved in lessons, the way they've conducted themselves out in the corridors and the open areas has really been superb. So please do pass on my congratulations to your son and daughter for the start that they've made. So just to say a little bit about the September plan, obviously you will have seen this from the information that came home from Mr. Green in various letters. Year 12 and Year 13 are obviously arriving at 9:30, so a little later than normal, but that allows us to stagger the start to ensure that year groups aren't mixing and crossing over. So 12 and 13 coming in at 9:30 through the Britannia Lane gate, and then the days are a little shorter, so they're dismissed at 10 to 3, again through the same gate. So they're following a full timetable, but the lessons are ever so slightly shorter. So each year group within the school is within their own bubbles, and this is obviously following the guidance that's been given to us by the government, the Department for Education and Public Health England. So year 12 and 13 are one bubble, and all of their lessons are taught in the same zone. So we have around about 26 classrooms that are just used for sixth form, and obviously within those lessons teachers are socially distancing, although teachers are moving across the bubbles obviously to be able to teach those year groups that need teaching. So as I said, lessons are a little bit shorter. Okay, they're following a full timetable. All Year 12 students will be doing the extended project as part of their enrichment. Now the extended project is a fantastic qualification that really does provide them with skills around research, picking a topic that really interests them and actually producing a piece of work. Now normally this is done over 2 or 3 months, but we've split it over the whole of the year to give the students more time to do it and make sure it doesn't interfere with their other studies. But it's actually the skills that they will develop and learn from doing the extended project will really stand them in good stead for all of their other A-level subjects, and if they are thinking about university and moving on, the skills that they learn will be really beneficial to them moving forward. When students aren't in lessons, we expect them to be working in the study areas or in the Learning Resource Centre in the new build, which is one of the rooms that we have as part of our zone. Studying at A-level is obviously very different to GCSE. It's much more about independent study, it's much more about reading around subjects. So, we want students here, we want them working, and we really want them focused when they're not in those lessons. And the students that do that are always the students that are successful at A-level at the end of Year 13. So it's really important that we get them into those right habits early on. Obviously there are some empty rooms, not many at the moment, just bearing in mind because obviously we've got so many students in different, in their classes. But if there is an empty room, students are welcome to go in and to use that, and they have been doing that. So the break and lunch at the moment in the current model, students obviously go to their period 3 lesson and they have their break for 10 minutes within that lesson. They then have the lesson itself, and then they have their lunch in the lesson as well. So that long period 3 is where the students will have lunch. If they haven't got lessons, then they have their lunch in one of the study areas within the sixth form. But it's obviously really important that students don't go off site to get food. Okay, so they do need to bring food with them. That would be my advice. There is catering, and we do have a food cart that's sort of selling sandwiches and cold snacks, but I would advise students to bring their own food with them if at all possible. And as I said, that last point, we really must make sure that students don't leave site without permission. So if anyone needs to leave site, they need to come and speak to me first, obviously, because as soon as they leave site, and if they do come back into school, they potentially break the bubble. So it's really important that we follow those rules. Obviously face coverings, this is a very big issue, obviously, and I have to say the students have been amazing with this so far. They are compulsory in the corridors and all communal areas, and that's for all students within the school, but they are optional within the classroom itself, so students and staff can choose whether they want to wear the face mask or not. As I said, face masks must be worn in the sixth form study areas and if they're in the learning resource area. Okay, and obviously, as I said, these rules may change change. Obviously we're following the guidance that's been given to us by the government and Department for Education and Public Health England, and if there are changes within that, we will obviously make those changes to reflect the guidance that we're given. And obviously we're always encouraging students and staff to think about the hygiene and the safety first and foremost. So just really finding the sort of procedures for this start of term. So obviously students need to wear their face masks, they need to sanitize hands before they come into the classroom or before they use a computer, socially distance wherever possible. Now we know that's very difficult within a school environment, and the government has acknowledged that, and that's why we've got the students within their bubbles. Students arrive, as we said, at 9:30 via Britannia Gate and then leave at 10 to 3 through that gate. I just wanted to finish this introduction section by just sort of remembering that this really is an unprecedented situation that we find ourselves in the middle of, and it's vitally important that we all follow the rules to ensure that everybody within our school community is as safe as they can possibly be. As I've said several times, we are constantly reviewing the situation, we're following the guidance, and we will look to make changes wherever we can moving forward into the new term. I just wanted to reflect on the results from the summer a little bit, really, just because I think there's something to really celebrate. 77% A star to C is the highest we've had in the sixth form, and 26% of the grades this year were A star or A. So 1 in 4 grades at A level this year were the highest grades that can be achieved, which is a really fantastic achievement for those year 13s. The average points per entry was a B minus, which basically means the average grade across the whole sixth form was a B minus, and that's the highest we've ever had. High percentage of our students gained their first choice university place, and many students have moved on to apprenticeships or into employment. So although it was a very challenging time for the year 13 that have just left, the results they achieved were very, very impressive. So just really wanted to talk a little bit about the sixth form in general. So, the sixth form is very much about engaging with that higher challenge. It's very different to GCSE, and we want every single student to be striving to achieve their best, and we will help them to do that. The challenge always is to bridge that gap between GCSE and A level, and that gap, I think the best way that students sort of adapt to that is by really embracing the challenges that A level throws at them. It is hard, it will be difficult, but actually the students that put the time and the effort in, the ones that read around their subjects, the ones that use their non-contact time properly, they are the ones that will really be successful, moving forward through their A levels. And I say we always advise students to really question and understand the learning from their teachers, really challenge it. Don't just take it as read, read around things, just really embrace the challenge of A levels, because they're exciting, and although they're hard, it's an incredibly rewarding time and an incredibly rewarding experience being an A level student. So as you're probably aware now, all A levels are 2-year linear courses, so all of the exams are at the end of year 13. So there are no formal exams at the end of year 12, although we will do some mock exams, which I will talk about in a minute. And obviously they're tested on the whole 2 years. So in a way it's very similar to the GCSE style, where we build up through the 3 years towards the GCSEs. It's now the same with A levels. So it's vitally important that students hit the ground running, because the stuff they're doing in this first half term will be things that they're tested on in those final exams at the end of year 13. So as I said, there are no formal exams at the end of year 12, but we do have internal exams for all subjects, and these are vital to be able to monitor the progress and how our students are progressing. And they also have an entry, bearing on the entry into year 13. So we expect students to be passing 2 out of their 3 subjects or 3 out of their 4 subjects in order to be able to automatically continue into year 13. And obviously we'll give you much more information about that nearer the time. So monitoring the performance of students as they move through year 12 is obviously a really important thing to ensure that they're going to achieve their best at the end of their time with us. So we have regular checks throughout the year, obviously to make sure that they are keeping up with their subjects, they are coping with the demands. There are 2 parents' evenings, Thursday the 5th of November and Thursday the 25th of March. Reports, 2 sets of reports, as you can see the dates there. And we also have a January assessment. So the first kind of mock exam exam, the big check to see how people are getting on and how they're adapting to the demands of A-level, will be just after Christmas, so the week beginning Monday the 11th of January. And then, as I said, the important mocks, which are the really big ones in the summer, will begin the week beginning the 21st of June. Alongside that, so we have 6 half-termly assessments, so every half-term there will be an assessment of some sort. The mock exams will form part of those 6 assessments, but others will take place in classrooms, and there will be some form of written assessment there to really kind of monitor and track their progress, and that information goes on to Go for School, so you can see from home how your son or daughter is performing, you know, in their subjects. And communication is something that is really, really important, and you know, that communication is between staff, it's between pupils, and it's obviously with you as parents and carers at home, and that communication is vital for success at A-level. We have no formal PSHE in sixth form, but we do have drop-down days where we bring students together, obviously to have various talks. So it could be about safer driving, it could be about university or apprenticeship, CV writing, all of those type of things. Obviously, we're not quite sure how that's going to look at the moment with everything that's happening with COVID-19, but we will be making sure that students don't miss out on those opportunities to really enrich and find out more about the things that are important through their time with us in sixth form. So support and guidance within the sixth form is very important. We really want to get to know the students as individuals. We want to support them academically, but we also want them to feel comfortable to come and talk to us if there are things that they're struggling with or things that are bothering them. And we also, and this is really key and something I'm incredibly passionate about, is that I want our students to leave when they finish in year 13 with not just the best qualifications and grades they can achieve, but also those skills that they need in order to be successful in future life. So it is about improving communication skills, it's about building confidence, it's about giving them the skills to be, you know, good team players and to show leadership, and they're things that we work on all the way through sixth form and are a core value of what we believe in at Copleston. And as I said earlier on, that communication with you as parents and carers is a key part of this. You know, if there are things that you're worried about, or you're concerned about the work or whatever it might be, I want you to be able to feel confident to get in contact with me or your son or daughter's teachers to have those dialogues and conversations, as they are crucial to success. Okay, so I'm just going to run through the procedures for the sixth form. All students in the sixth form will have an ID badge, and this not only identifies them as a sixth form student when they're on site, it also provides them with a way of signing in and out when they come into sixth form. So when a student arrives in the morning, the first thing they should do is scan their ID badge onto one of the card readers, and that will mark them in. And obviously when a student leaves with the intention of going home, they need to make sure they swipe out on the same card reader, and that will mark the student out. Students will be given these cards this week, and as I said, they're vitally important that students use them in the right way to ensure that their attendance is as accurate as possible. Students will be registered in lessons as normal by the teachers, so the combination of the two should mean that we always know who's in school, who's in their lessons, and who's doing what they should be doing. Attendance to all lessons is vitally important for success at A-level. All students should be using their non-contact periods appropriately. They should be staying in sixth form, and they should be working in the study areas. Attendance and punctuality will be monitored on a weekly basis, and as I said, we expect all students to attend every lesson that is on their timetable. If there are problems with attendance, we will speak to the student in the first instance and then come to you as parents and carers if the situation doesn't improve, and obviously we would ask for your support in that. Obviously, in the rare occasions where attendance becomes a real problem, we will try all sorts of different things. We will give out attendance reports, but ultimately if attendance doesn't improve and a student isn't attending their lessons, we may have to review their place in sixth form and whether it's the right thing for them to carry on. But as we said, this is a very rare occurrence. Absences. If you know your son or daughter is going to be absent in advance, if you could bring a note in from home just to let us know, and we can mark the register accordingly. Please don't take holidays in term time if at all possible, but if you do have to take a holiday in term time, you need to fill out a form that's available from the sixth form office and return that to us so we can decide whether we are able to authorise the holiday or not. If your son or daughter is ill or there's something comes up on the day, please phone the sixth form office and let us know on the morning of that absence, and ideally when the student returns to school, if they could bring a note to confirm that absence, that would be excellent and much appreciated. appreciated. If any of these things do not happen, obviously the absence will be recorded as unauthorised, and obviously we don't want students to have unauthorised absences if actually there is a genuine reason why they are not here. And obviously that is crucial moving forward. We often get asked to provide attendance records by employers and universities, so it's really vital that the student takes responsibility to ensure that their attendance is as accurate as possible. Just wanted to just talk a little bit about expectations and what we want from our sixth form students, really. As we've said, you know, the jump from GCSE to A-level is a big one. A-levels are hard, they are challenging, they are rewarding, but it's vital that students approach them in the right way if they're going to be successful. So it's not just about doing the homework, it's not just doing those basic things, it's about all the extras. It's the reading around the subject, it's the making notes, it's the watching documentaries, it's about trying to deepen the knowledge of the subjects that they're studying. And as a rule of thumb, we would expect students to be doing a minimum of 5 hours per study per subject outside of the classroom, and that's crucial for success. If a student ever says they don't have anything to do, that's just not true at A-level. There are always things that they can do to improve their knowledge and understanding. Sixth form students, obviously we want them to be role models. They are the oldest students in school and they do have a lot of privileges that the students in the main school don't have, so it's vital that they set the right example around school and that they are seen as role models to the younger students in the school. As discussed, obviously attendance is vitally important for success, and obviously part-time jobs. This is one that often comes up every year. You know, we want to encourage students to have part-time jobs in many ways because it's important that they learn those skills that come with that. But it's important the balance is right, and really in year 12 they shouldn't be doing any more than 10 hours a week. And obviously when exams are coming, obviously that should be much less. And obviously as students move into year 13, we would like them to be doing much less work as they should be concentrating on their academic studies. And we also really want our students to enjoy the time in sixth form. As I said earlier, you know, A-levels are challenging, but actually sixth form's a wonderful experience to really, you know, enjoy and learn from. And I think the students already have enjoyed their time, you know, in the sixth form. So please encourage them, if there are things that they're worried about, you know, just to come and talk to me or their form tutor or one of their teachers in the first instance. Just to touch on the dress code, this is obviously an important one, and I have to say so far things have been excellent. You know, the dress code in sixth form is smart. We don't have a uniform, but we want students to have some choice in what they wear. But we want to make sure that they're dressed appropriately and that it fits in with the ethos and the culture of an academic sixth form is what we are. So there is a list there of things that are not acceptable. So if you could try and help support us with that, I'd be really grateful. So that brings us to the end of this presentation. I hope that I've managed to answer some of the questions that you might have and explain some of the sort of protocols and the procedures. Obviously, there may well be questions that you have that I haven't managed to answer in this format. So please do feel free to drop me an email at the address on the screen, or alternatively give me a call at the sixth form, and I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. Many thanks.